Hello, everyone. On this day of metal, I'm Justin, your friendly neighborhood metalhead, and I am here with the legendary Chris Barnes of 6 Feet Under. Chris, how are you doing today, man?
Good, good. Thanks for having me.
So you guys just announced your new album, your new album, Killing for Revenge, which will be out on May 10th on Metal Blade. You dropped a new single, No Nothing Ingrate. Heavy as all hell. You guys are just more pissed off on this record, and it's such an outstanding opening song to get the fans pumped up for it.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, we just dropped the first single today, and it's gotten some really great feedback and just positive reviews and everything from everyone. So couldn't be happier.
Oh, definitely. So I know that it will be coming out, and I already heard the advance copy. It seems like you guys kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you guys got more thrashier, more old school death metal, and kind of veered away from the death and roll sound. Was that kind of your guys' goal from the previous album, Nightmares of the Decomposed, or where did that kind of aggressive side of 6 Feet Under come from for the new record?
Well, Jack just wrote some interesting songs, and we just kind of uh, you know, take it as it goes, really, and kind of just let the vibe of the album flow as we write. So it's Jack really just came up with some excellent songs, and like he did last time, and he focused on a little bit different of a tempo and drum attack as far as the bass part of the foundation part of the song work. So it's just how it appeared this time around.
Okay. That definitely makes sense because yeah, it's definitely once I heard the opening single and then as I heard the record, it just seemed like you guys just, amped up the speed. Your vocals got more angrier, more guttural. Jack is just, shredding like a mother effer, and the drums were insane. Like just everything just got faster and angrier, and it was just like, what the hell happened on this record? And just you guys almost sound like young 6 Feet Under again and the Haunted era, but angrier and more pissed off. And I was just blown away by that sound. And it's just I'm excited to get the fans' reaction when the new album comes out because I think they're going to be blown away with just like I was.
No, thanks, man. Yeah, it's always interesting how people interpret things, you know. It's I just try to focus on what the music sounds like to me, and just kind of every song, every album I work on, no matter if I write the lyrics to it or not, I more like just focus on trying to accommodate the music and the riffing and whatnot with just the what I find to be the most appealing approach to it from my side of things.
Okay, that completely makes sense. I agree with that. You started 6 Feet Under as kind of your side project and from Cannibal Corpse, and then it started to officially become your main project. When you started 6 Feet Under, what did you want to do differently from Cannibal Corpse? Mainly, what was the main, like, I don't want it to be blank, or I wanted to try this? What was kind of your goal for 6 Feet in the early stages of the band?
I didn't really look at it like that. It was other than I knew it was going to be my main band at the point where I started it in '93. I was trying to really make a graceful exit and have something already there that was released at that point. So other than that, I mean, I just you know I knew Alan West, and we had a good relationship with things, and I had heard the songs that he was demoing out at the time, and I thought they were just great songs, and I remember writing lyrics to the first three songs, and when I got done with that, like I knew it in my mind, right? I really literally envisioned uh the live crowds and people enjoying the music that I was just finishing up at that point. It was just in the demo stages. But I could clearly see like the that it would be well received from from the people that were enjoying what I was doing at the time.
Okay, that's good. And then one of my favorite albums that got me into you guys was the album True Carnage, and that famously has your feature on One Bullet Left with Ice-T from, you know, Rap, and then now Body Count and SVU and whatever acting he's doing currently. So where, I gotta ask, where did that kind of collab come from? Because it seems like such a left field, random, but it works on the song.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, just Ice was. I loved his music and his art since really day one. I just I you know OG is like one of my favorite all time albums,
Mhm.
and got that when it came out. I never stopped playing it, so I just enjoyed his point of view and his honesty and his art, and so I was always a fan of his. And I got to meet him one time walking through an airport, and he instantly recognized me and knew who I was and came up to me and said hello and introduced himself and was so nice to me. And I just was like, I was really blown away by it. Like you said, you follow people that you're a fan of, and when you finally get to talk to them and whatnot, it's just kind of a surreal experience. So,
Yeah.
and at the point of kind of writing and getting into the pre-production for True Carnage, the record label asked me if there was anyone or any people that I wanted to collaborate with or have as a special guest on the album, and his name was the first one. I just said, yeah, Ice-T, and they were like, okay, we'll get a hold of his manager and stuff, and came back of I don't know, it was a few days or maybe a week later from a message from his manager just saying Ice is in. So I was like, oh man, this is fucking amazing. So yeah, we just had a great time putting that together, and went up to New York with the owner of Metal Blade, Brian Slagle, and went into the studio up there at Hit Factory, New York, and
Mhm.
was there for his tracking of his part in the song, and it was just an amazing time. So we loved working with him on that, and I've gotten to work with a lot of my uh, well, a few of my real um, bass idols like Ice, and then Iggy Pop on a song, an intro he did for us for a shot to the head from Death Rituals. So
Yeah.
just been really lucky to know some amazing musicians over the years, and great artists.
Yeah. It's always fun to kind of collab and have that like oh crap moment, like I'm recording with Ice-T, or oh crap, I Iggy Pop is on my record, like that whole, or even John Bush on your Graveyard Classics album. Like it was like what, I was not expecting John Bush, and he nailed his track too. So it's just like you don't realize it until after the fact that you're like, I worked
Well,
with this person.
yeah, John, we knew each other pretty well. I mean, through the record company, we all, me and Brian and John and Lizzie and stuff hung out a few times and just knew each other. I just at that point for that one, it was just like, hey, maybe John will want to do a backing vocal part, just kind of like how Ray Alder did on Invader on Graveyard Classics 4. So, good friends, and just had a good vibe going, and thought I'd ask him to be on the records.
Well, speaking of Graveyard Classics, you guys are just, or your most recent one was the Iron Maiden Judas Priest one, and I've always been curious, when you do those, do you pick most of the songs, or do you kind of like you pick a couple and then each band member picks a couple and then you guys do that, or how has the process worked for working on a Graveyard Classic album?
Well, on Graveyard Classics 1 and Graveyard Classics 3, we all kind of just picked our favorites and kind of threw them all out there, and everyone got a few choices, whatnot. And for Graveyard Classics 4, Brian Slagle picked all the Iron Maiden and Judas Priest songs
Hmm.
because number one, because he's a great friend of mine, and because he's really he's an Iron Maiden aficionado and a Judas Priest aficionado. I am too, but I felt like he would have some interesting choices that were a little bit uh, kind of off the wall and interesting.
Yeah. And it's definitely out of the norm for some of those. It's like, oh, there was were deep cuts, but then like you guys made it work. So that was definitely the, I didn't, it's kind of the hesitation of like, how do you make a death metal song out of Iron Maiden? But you guys, attempted it and pulled it off pretty darn well. So kudos on that.
Oh yeah, well we did that on Maximum Violence too. We did a Maiden song on that, Wrathchild. So that was one of the bonus tracks on special edition.
Yeah.
Did Thin Lizzy and an Iron Maiden song.
Yeah. And then you guys did Kiss, I believe, too, on Maximum Violence as well, right? You did War Machine, if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then I know on the new album you kind of have the bonus track of the Nazareth cover. So maybe I'm predicting it early. Are you thinking or working on a Graveyard Classics 5, or is that kind of like that's a maybe in the future?
You never know, man. Things they kind of just pop up, and we start working on them as it comes to us. So it's a possibility. I mean, I enjoy doing those. They're just a lot of fun and really very challenging as well.
Yeah. And listening to the song, it sounded like I could picture you guys just having fun, riding the cowbell, you growling, son of a bitch, all that kind of stuff on that song. I could tell that was a fun track to record listening to that.
Yeah, it was a great track, man. I've always loved that song. So everybody really did a wonderful job with their parts in that. It's turned out great.
Nice. And then while you were kind of on a break from 6 Feet Under, you joined the band Torture Killer that was basically started as a 6 Feet Under cover band or tribute band, however you want to phrase it. How did it feel to kind of tell the band like, "Hey, I'll be on an album"? Like, did it kind of blow their minds? Were they not expecting it? Were they like afraid to ask you? How did that kind of happen with
Um, well, I wasn't on a break with 6 Feet Under. I was writing music and about to record an album. Uh, but I came across an article, I think on Blabbermouth one day, and I saw that this band Torture Killer, who had one of our song titles as a name of their band, was looking for a vocalist, and I listened to some of their uh, music, and I was just like, "Well, this is really interesting." And they're a band that really kind of gets um, that whole sound. And so I contacted Yari, the guitarist and the main songwriter, and just asked him. I said, "Hey, I heard you're looking for a vocalist, and I'd love to contribute. If you want me to." So
it?
he was definitely interested, and seemed like they weren't uh, new to it or anything. So
Yeah.
it was like they were very professional guys, and it was just really interesting working on those songs. And Yari wrote a few songs from Undead, Unborn, Unburied. He had some stuff there that during those sessions that he contributed to that album, those albums. I like to call it one album actually, but
Hmm.
so working with him was great on everything we've done. He's one of the greatest songwriters and people I know. So well, a few years ago he asked me to uh, do some backup vocals on a track that they were doing called Written in Blood. And that turned out great too, man. So I've always had a great relationship and a lot of fun working with those guys. They're just really amazing songwriters and performers. So I'd love to do some more stuff with those guys for sure.
Nice. So shout out to Yuri. You heard it from Chris. He's up for doing more. You just got to ask him. uh,
Yeah.
And it's no secret that you are a fan of the Mary Jane, the marijuana, all that fun stuff. When did it start to influence your lyrics with songs like on Warpath and Maximum Violence? And how has it kind of affected how you, I mean, do you use it for writing? Is it just kind of a cool down after a heavy recording session? When does it start to affect you musically, I guess?
Well, I don't smoke cannabis anymore, so I haven't for about a year and a half. But previously, I would use it in all aspects of my daily life, and
Mm,
it was a wonderful meditative tool to use to write lyrics to, of course. Yeah, I
mm,
enjoyed that a lot.
wow. I wasn't aware that you quit, or I couldn't find any information on that. Was it just personal choice? Was it health wise? Was it vocally? What was the reason for the quit?
No, it's actually beneficial to your health, so I'm probably not. I wouldn't say that was any part of it. It was just, I guess, something I just wanted to do personally. So
That's good. Well, good for you. Especially, anytime quitting anything is just hard to do, especially, pot or cigarettes. So kudos for going a good whole year doing it. So pat
yeah, a
yourself on
year and
the
a
back
half.
for that.
Yeah, a year and a half, no cannabis, no alcohol. So I've kind of changed gears a little in my life.
Yeah. And then with Nightmares of the Decomposed, that was right when all hell went, when the world went to hell on the COVID pandemic. Were you guys kind of hesitant to kind of record? Like, were you trying to figure out how to ride this out? How do we write the album? Did it affect
No, we were
lyrics and
we
stuff?
were
How did
out
that work?
the album was already written before that all started, and we had recorded all of our tracks before the lockdown came into place. I was actually in the studio finishing up the mix. The basically the day before the lockdown hit, I was down in Miami, and I left maybe 2 or 3 days early,
Hmm.
and let my longtime engineer finish the record at the Hit Factory there in Miami, and just it was done before the the pandemic started really, so that wasn't a problem. I mean, we were we were finished with it for the most part, and a lot of people think we rushed through something, or
Hmm.
it was a pandemic album. It really wasn't. It was released during the pandemic, but all the songwriting and recording had already been done before that all started.
So you basically just dodged the bullet before everything went to hell, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was an interesting point in time, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. And then you also have your Cameo account, which I kind of learned about recently while researching. What kind of gave you the idea to start doing that? And then what is kind of the most common thing people ask for you or of you on it?
Oh, the Cameo videos.
Yeah.
I think a friend of mine recommended it, saying, you might be wanting to try this, and you could
Hmm.
make a couple extra bucks doing it. And I looked at it like that at first, and then I once I got into it, I realized how how nice it was to really like kind of put a smile on people's faces, because they really enjoyed the messages and the personal attention to the videos that I put into it, and yeah, it seemed like it was something that uh, made people happy. So I don't make much money on them. I mean, it's
Yeah.
20, 40 bucks here or there, but um, that wasn't really the important thing. The important thing was I found out really quick how much my fans and the folks that book those really love them, and it makes them smile. So that's why I continue to do them.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of reviews that, they're praising you for, the things you do. It means a lot to, when people get them. So it's, again, and, anybody will take 20 bucks to do something simple as a shout out or a birthday message. So, I mean, especially as a musician, you'll take 20 bucks however you can get kind of thing nowadays, especially with gas and everything and all this inflation stuff. So, I mean, doing that just for an extra 20 bucks, but also kind of making everything personalized and stuff. It's just that extra mile you can go to get to your fans and that kind of stuff. So it's definitely a cool thing that you're doing on the side.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I enjoy, um, just the feedback I get from the people I do the videos for.
Hmm. And then doing research too, I noticed in 2025, the debut album Haunted will be turning 30 years old. And I was just curious if you're thinking about doing anything special to celebrate it, whether it's a re-release, maybe touring to doing the whole, performing Haunted in their entirety or anything along those lines.
No, there's nothing planned like that. I mean, we did like 21 years of Haunted in Europe a few years back. Did a
Hmm.
tour and we played the whole album.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's kind of a common thing people do, and I've done it already. And it
Hmm.
really didn't mean too much at the time, so it's kind of like, yeah, probably not. It's just it's really nice that we've been around this long, and this actually is my 35th year on Metal Blade Records, so I'm really proud of that, and that to me is a huge milestone,
Oh
and
yeah.
so that's really where I'm at with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy to think that, you started with, Cannibal Corpse and, you've been doing 6 Feet Under for 30 years and then combining both of those, it's just like I've been growling and, kicking fans' asses and stuff all across every stage and, across the world for this long. And like I'm still doing it and I love doing it. So it's definitely one of those retrospective moments of like how far I've come and doing this and doing this business and all this other stuff. So it's just one of those cool self-reflective moments.
Yeah, I don't really tend to look back on things so much. I've always kind of lived in the moment, and I'm more concerned about what's next.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to look at it. And then I'll end the interview with the two fun questions. Um, while I was looking on YouTube for videos that I'm going to post for when we do the article for music videos and quotes, I found a video of you and Park Auto Mall as buying or promoting a car dealership, and I was just wondering, can you explain how that got involved? Because it was totally random to see Chris Barnes, death metal legend, in a car commercial.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat. I was purchasing a car from a local family-owned dealership in Tampa, Florida,
Hmm.
and they were just such nice people. I and they had their video crew there that day, and it was really interesting because the guy that was filming everything,
Hmm.
he actually recorded and filmed all of the early Sabotage music videos, and Sabotage is one of my all-time fans and uh, Tampa, Florida natives, and we actually did a Sabotage song on the first Graveyard Classics album. So
Hmm.
after talking to him and just having such a great experience with the family-owned dealership, and I just wanted to do something nice for a local business, and I felt it was something I had never done before, so that was challenging to me. I always liked something new to take on and try, and yeah, it was just a really kind of spontaneous moment in time, and it just was really interesting to do and to meet those folks and do something nice for them. They're just such a great dealership, and I'm a car guy, so I really enjoy automobilia. Always have. I've raced cars, built cars, enjoyed lots and lots of different type of vehicles. Grew up on two wheels, started uh, driving a stick shift muscle car at 12 years old. So I've always been into anything on wheels.
Yeah.
So um, yeah, so that was just part of my love for automobiles, and yeah, just helping out a local business.
Nice. Well, that was sweet of you to do that. And again, the Sabotage thing, that's kind of that small world kind of thing. Like, never would have thought that. So that's definitely just a cool thing to not only do for them, but that, oh, that small tie to even the business is cool too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He like I said, he filmed all the Sabotage music videos in the 80s and 90s, and just was we talked about some different things in the business, and yeah, well, that kind of solidified me doing the commercial. I was like, wow, man, this is really great. This dude's a metalhead, and he's doing this work, and yeah, sure, include me. I'd love it,
Nice.
So a lot of people are like, "Oh, we got a deal on the car." I didn't get a deal on the car, and the car actually wasn't that expensive. So it was just a really nice day. So I had a good
Yeah.
time doing it.
I'm trying to remember the commercial. Was the car that you promoted in the commercial, was that the car you bought or was that a different car?
Yeah, that was a car I bought. It was a 2003 Porsche Boxster S.
Do you still have it or did you get rid of it or?
No, that car's long gone. I go through cars like lunch, basically.
All right. Well, I'll wrap up the interview with a question I always ask everybody that I interview is what are basically some bands or albums that you're listening to that either you think 6 Feet Under fans will dig or just bands or albums that you're like, people just need to check this out right now. It could be local bands, it could be famous classic albums, just anything in general, that kind of stuff.
I don't really listen to too much music, but it's stuff that just kind of comes up, and I'll give a listen. I'll be like, oh yeah, they've got it, or these guys have their finger on the button, or
Hmm.
this isn't that good, or But I don't really like to be negative because everyone does what they're wanting to do and what they enjoy doing. So I don't try to critique people on their art too much, man, because I don't really care for that when people do that to me. But I kind of recognize bands that are interesting and stuff. Like, I think this band that Prosthetic Records just signed, and they're coming out with their new album this week. A New Orleans-based band called Brat,
Mm.
BRAT. They're great, great new grind death metal type of band that it's really refreshing for me to hear that. It's kind of a lost art right now, but fucking phenomenal band. Really was blown away by them. So that's one that comes to mind. Maybe people might want to check out. They're a really special type of band. I like them a lot.
Okay, sweet. All right, well, I will wrap it up. So thank you, Chris, for the opportunity for the interview. I really do appreciate it, and my little starstruck self is happy that I held myself together pretty darn well and all that fun stuff.
You did great, man. You did
I,
good.
I appreciate it. Thank you. 6 Feet Under's new album, Killing Revenge, comes out May 10th. You can pre-order it now on Metal Blades Bandcamp. Chris, again, true honor. And I can't wait to hear the new or the fans to hear the new album and have you guys just blow them away with how good it is.
Okay, man. Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it, bud.
You're welcome, man. You have a great night.
Okay, you too, man.
Bye bye.
See you.